Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of 10 with Tom, where we get to explore faith 10 minutes at a time. My name is Tom, and today I want to talk about why we need to calm down. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, it says this: "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." Let's be honest. We live in a time of massive social upheaval. What work looks like has changed, what marriage looks like has changed, how kids dress has changed, how we understand history has changed, our discussion about race is different, even gender seems to be up for debate in this modern world. But guess what? It's always been like this. As the old saying goes, the only constant in history is change. As Ryan Holiday, whom I love, he's a Stoic, he says people have always felt like things are moving too fast and that the change wrought is too drastic. And that's true down to the very first Christians, whose radical love and ideas were seen to be a threat to the empire of Rome. Taylor Swift, who my wife absolutely loves, her advice to all of us who are freaking out or running around about all this is fitting. She says, you need to calm down. As God says to Joshua, who was leading his people into the people of Israel across the river into a massive season of change. And God says to Joshua, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. Calm down, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. You see, while this world is constantly changing, our God's character does not. As the lyrics of the song Same God by Maverick City remind us. I love this song. You heard your children then, you hear your children now. You are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now. You are the same God. You were providing then, you are providing now. You are the same God. You moved in power then, God move in power now. You were a healer then, you're a healer now. You were a savior then, you are a savior now. You are the same God. And I don't know about you, but I think for me that brings great comfort in the midst of change and turmoil. That God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Now, let me just say this. That doesn't mean that the way God works or He speaks or acts is the same. In fact, if you read the scriptures throughout history, it seems like God almost never speaks to us in the same way. Sometimes He speaks to us through a still small voice, sometimes through lightning and thunder, sometimes directly to people, other times He speaks through people or through circumstances. I think like any good parent, God knows His children, and He knows the best and most appropriate way to communicate with us and to guide us and to teach us. And of course, that's not always the same. No parent would treat their 3-year-old the same as their 13-year-old. So when we say God never changes, what we're really saying is His methods may change, will change, but His motive never does. His character, who He is. And so let's rest and find peace in that today, in the midst of this world that is always changing. Let's rest and find peace in who He is, not in the world or the circumstances around us, not in the petrol price or what the economy is doing on any given day, but in who God is, His love and His character, which never changes. Let me also just say this, and I think a lot of Christians need to hear this. We're not going to stop progress by banning things, by being against things. We talk about we should be known for what we're for, not just for what we're against. And the reality is, even if we're right, it doesn't really work being against things. In fact, it just does the opposite. It draws people that you're trying to protect more strongly to the thing you're trying to protect them from. And if that kind of combative anti-culture posture succeeds at anything, it just succeeds in heaping shame and guilt and embarrassment on people. And I don't think it makes a great case for our Christian values, which are important and in which I firmly believe, but it doesn't make a great case to present those values or beliefs as so fragile that they need protection by any means necessary, including cruelty and control and power and tyranny. And I see this so often, especially on Facebook, Christian friends arguing for something that I also believe in, but arguing in such a horrible and divisive and I would say even abusive manner. And all that does, guys, is just drives people away from faith And it makes it seem like we're just like everyone else, out to get more power, out to get more control, and even worse, using our religion as a cover to just get what we want. So what are we supposed to do? Well, I love what 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 11 says. It says, stay calm, mind your own business, do your own job. You've heard all this from us before, but a reminder never hurts. We want you living in a way that will command the respect of outsiders. I love that. That's what we're supposed to do. Stay calm, mind your own business, get on with it, practice some empathy, try to, understand, focusing on what we can control, like being decent and kind and loving to those around us. By this, the world will know that we are their disciples. Living in such a way, the writer says, that people outside of our faith think, wow, I don't believe what those Christians believe. I mean, they believe a guy rose from the dead. I mean, that's crazy. But man, I want to hire them because they work so hard. I want my daughter to marry one because, you can trust them. I want to work for one because they're just such great people. That's what we need to do. That's what it means to be followers of Christ. That's what it means to shine our light, to be salt and light. So in closing, just this kind of random thought, 10 with Tom today. I know it's tough out there. I know things are changing and changing so fast it seems it's hard to keep up. But let us remind ourselves God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And His promises remain true, that He will never leave us and He will never forsake us. And because of that, we can find peace and we can find rest. And we can, as Taylor Swift says, calm down. Thanks so much for joining for another episode of 10 with Tom. It's been great to be with you. I hope these short videos are helpful. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to friends and family who may need to hear a message like this. But it's been great being with you. And have a great day.